3. Hey chat, can you hear me? The important test is here. Slava Ukraini, indeed, my friends. So, wait, wow. Fantastic intro, absolutely. Guys, you should support them. Great music. Ukrainian artists are really nice. I would love to show you more music from Ukraine, but it's actually surprisingly hard to find Ukrainian artists and Ukrainian music that actually have either subtitles that I can auto translate to English, or like some nice songs that already put in English subtitles. So that's the unfortunate part. But I'm looking for more. And I'm looking for more different songs. Also, yes, I need to not forget. So this song, the last one, I will link everything. Oh, this was from Yarmak. This is song number 1. And then the second one was from Skovka. So, and I'm linking the second one in. And as always, the links to the videos that were in the start, they will be in the recording of this stream in the description. So while you're here, guys, please do 2 things very important. First is to say thanks to Ellie for helping us out with troll problem. Troll infestation has reduced severely since she joined the moderation team. And secondly, the quality of negotiations and talks in the chat has definitely increased. That is one thing. And second thing, hit the like and share and whatever button. We are already sitting at 376 people watching, which is amazing start. Thank you so much, Ellie. Thank you so much, chat. How are you doing, guys? How are you doing today? Let's start easy. I'm planning about 1.5 hours today. We'll see how much we can talk about stuff, but I have stuff to talk about as always. But I'm pretty sure that you also have stuff to talk about, to ask, whatever. I hope you've been doing great. Like I've been doing so. For me, the past couple of days were really hard. You know, the war, I'm pretty sure you've experienced this as well, right? If you've been following the war just a little bit, you've noticed that it's like sometimes up, sometimes down, and just there are moments when the war really hits you, like, you know, something like happens, either the video or someone else's story or something. My video yesterday, I was very emotional deep inside. I was really overtaken by the situation that happened at Dnipro. I don't know whether it was the pictures or what was splendid, Eileen. I will check. Thanks, Martin. Yeah. So and today it didn't became a lot easier. So today it was. It kind of even became to a part worse. I saw the video that the Wagnerites released, where they captured a Ukrainian soldier and then they stabbed him to death. And a video was as graphic as I describing it. So yeah, and after yesterday's tragedy at Dnipro, I was just I don't know, I was just overtaken with rage, with emotions. I just wanted to yell, literally yell at everything. So I'm experiencing like this a downward slide right now on this whole war front. Very emotional, very angry, and people that followed me for a while now know that the more angry I get at Russians, the more I wish to change something for the better, the more I usually do some kind of videos, streams, you know, some kind of activities and so on. So we'll see what I come up with. Raven 7, I don't know why, but for some reason chat is always blocking your videos. I don't know why. Can I, like, Raven 7, I'll just give you moderator, because I don't understand why chat keeps hiding your messages. But Raven 7, welcome to moderation team. Congratulations on the promotion, because I've gotten annoyed every time you send a message, and you're writing a lot. I read a lot about what you write, but it's just like hiding your messages automatically. Oh, this message is hidden for review. This message is hidden for review. Disgusting. All right, so let's see what you guys wrote. I'm glad. I'm driving in Luton. I'm glad you're having it good, Martin. I'll check out the link. I've put it. I'm gonna open it as a side link on myself, and I'll check it out after the stream. Ah, Eileen. Wait. Of course I know her. She's super famous. Like she's amazingly famous. Wow. Yeah, yeah. Wagner video was crazy. Rue Jones, thanks for $10. We're all angry. Yeah, it's just I just couldn't bear it anymore. It's like just that tragedy, everything. It was just I really want to. It's like I basically I went to the, this Robert Magyar, the guy who is having this pointer of doom, as it's being called right now on Twitter. It's the guy that has all these videos where they're striking with drones and everything, Russian soldiers, and he's always explaining how they're killing some of the worms that are swimming around the Ukrainian land. So, and I was like, okay, please, please, more. Just, okay, I wasn't getting enough retribution for how angry I felt. And by the way, I didn't know was like I found out some people that were recommending Robert Magyar, but he doesn't have explicit links to where. Yeah, the Jaga Jaga guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm really trying to find any person that is helping his groups, his battalion, whatnot. And I want to send the next month's essentially profits, what I'm sending basically every month. This month it was like just a split payment. Like I've sent some to U24. I've sent some to like smaller groups. I've sent some to people I just know on the front lines. But I want to send next month to Robert Magyar, just because the fact that he's helping me get through all of this anger is really appreciated. Mormul, thanks for 200 kronos. Appreciate it. What is suspected? I'm thinking you mean expected, Alex Baker. What is expected in Ramstein meeting in 4 days? Well, in 4 days, we're expecting a lot of weapons for Ukraine. As with most Ramstein meetings, most of it will be classified. So I would not expect any major declarations. But the fact that we overcame a lot of psychological barriers with UK and Poland declaring that they will send tanks to Ukraine, that was a major point. So I think new Ramstein meeting will come as a big, big, big package of help for Ukraine. Scott Moore, what is happening in the south? Are Russians launching a new offensive there? No, not seems so. Are Ukrainians using these to deplete Russian ranks before launching the drive on Melitopol? Scott, right now the south is a little bit stale. There are, how to say, poking attacks. Russian doctrine always in the Russian doctrine, they don't have something that would be essentially called a passive defense. In Russian doctrine, the best defense is essentially an offense. So if Russians are able to attack, they will attack, unless they can't. Then that's the only way that they cannot attack. That's why, for example, in Kremina, around Kremina direction, we see a lot of active counterattacks from the Russian side, because that's how Russian doctrine works when it comes to defenses. So their defense is, instead of just sitting in your defense, you need to counterattack the enemy. So right now what's happening in the south is basically tactical movements, and Russians there are not attacking yet. And there have been discussions about Russia preparing essentially a big offensive, the large-scale offensive. And as I said, and as I explained, I really hope it's going to come from the north around Kyiv, because then basically that we will see that Russia learned absolutely nothing over this last year of war. Because if Russia will attack from the north, it's going to happen exactly the same, if not worse, what happened at the start of the war. Hello, Ukraine from Ukraine Matters. Yes, indeed. Slava Ukraini. What do you feel about the new UK 8 package? It's massive. It's really powerful. Good stuff. Really massive good stuff. I mean, it's really nice. It is really, really good. Ryan Sikorsky, don't let the Russians get you angry. That's why they want everything you do talking about Ukraine helps towards their victory. Ryan, it's not a bad anger. Like it's how do you say? It's not what Russians do. You know, it's like it's just the injustice. You know, there is like so Ukraine is getting shit that sometimes like oh my god, what kind of treatment of the prisoners of war you're having? Oh my god, there was this like some prisoners that didn't have the 3 times meal on the Ukrainian media, or there's something like I don't know Amnesty International coming out with some kind of a or sorry Amnesty I mean Travesty International coming out with some of the descriptions about how Ukrainians are inhumanly defending their territory and putting all of these defensive positions inside of a perfectly fine Bakhmut city that can be leveled. So and then they just like the Russians just release a video where they torture and kill prisoners of war. So I cannot help not be angry, but my anger is always motivated. Like my anger was what helped me also keep on point and move on with this channel and continue providing and pumping out videos and making sure that you guys stay on point with the information. Though, gotta be fair, like I'm not really your primary source of information. Did the guys trapped in Solidar manage to escape? What guys trapped in Solidar? Cheryl, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Heinrich Barty, do you think Germany is going to find excuses or finally grow a pair of balls? To be honest, I don't even know anymore. I gave up. If they will send something, I will be happy. But okay, let's be fair. Not Germany. Scholz, our good and nice Chancellor Scholz. It's not for all of Germany. That's a little bit unfair. I expect Germany to keep flip flopping at Rammstein. Probably. I heard Rammstein will be close to Latvia. Will you go there? What? Someone on the enforcement said he is with the Magyar or Magyar battalion. That would be nice. Yeah. I mean, like if I need to find a trusted source how I can send money to him, so I'm looking for it. Subhero, did you see that interview on Dutch Welle with that weak sauce social democrats from Germany? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, it was the interview, and the guy said, "Well, we have in Ukraine, it's like our what was it? Our interests align, but they are not identical." I think it was the phrase that got me completely throwing hands up in the air, because I mean the Ukrainian interests are not very difficult. Like they just want to live. Like Ukrainians want to live and not get missiled every couple days to destroy their houses, places they live in, and preferably their children not killed, no one captured, women preferably not being raped, schools not destroyed. Yeah, that's a hard. I know it's a very hard thing to relate to. It's like very 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 difficult to find itself in yourself an interest to align with that. It's very very difficult. I understand that for some politicians in SPD in Germany, but at least I'm seeing that a lot of the other people in the world still kind of are in touch with some of the humanity that they have left. KFC, according to UATV, Germany will support the transfer of Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine by other countries. Yes, that is my kind of only hope that I'm having. But as always with Germany, maybe they will say, okay, it will allow it, but the verification process will take 3 months or some shit like that. So there always might be a caveat. So Mark Zimmerman, sorry, no. Germans are not Nazis. They are not. It's factually wrong. Germans did a lot for Ukraine. They saved many, many lives of Ukrainians. They saved a lot of families. And any kind of comparison between current Germany and Nazis is just a very nice attempt at troll. Okay, not very nice. It's actually quite bad when I think about it. Yes. Guys, remember, if you want to write something for me to read, write an at and then write Ukraine Matters, and then it highlights for me and I can read it. We are 974 people, guys, already watching. So thank you so much. Remember to like, share this. It's very important because I think one of the saddest things for me is that a lot of these like pro-Russian or like neutral channels are getting so much more views than a proper news for Ukraine. And obviously, I'm promoting myself, but you should also watch other pro-Ukraine news channels that are covering the war in the actuality, what's happening. So I don't need to explain to you who Denis Davidov is. I mean, he's the most popular. Then there's other things, reporting from Ukraine and other channels that are so much bigger than mine. So everything is better than watching any neutral parts. I know some of you are having a fun at it. Fair enough. Just when you're watching them, just do it at least consciously with awareness that it's also popularizing their channel. Ryan Sikorsky, Russians are just savages, plain and simple. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, this is a great place to kind of start off with. Like, so let's dive into my anger, continuation of my anger, basically, before we go into the main subject about the Russian infighting. So, guys, all the questions that I didn't answer, just write them later on. Do you whenever I talk about good Russians, and whenever discussions, there's always people that want to tell me that George, you're wrong. Like Russian population doesn't really care like this. So today I want to talk with you about a story, and a story is about a very prominent Russian guy actually. So he was a guy that was Russian military. I believe he was a paratrooper or VDV or something. His name was Pavel Filatiev. You might have heard he appeared in the news cycle sometime last year. And so this guy, so he escaped essentially Russian mobilization drive when he was fighting in Ukraine. And then he was also during the invasion of Kiev area. So he actually saw some horrifying things that Russians did. And he fled to France and said that, well, whew, thank you so much for accepting me. Thank you so much for letting me escape all of these bad things. I promise I will now support Ukraine. I will now testify. I will now tell you everything about how awful the Russian army was. That is what he said. So he got French asylum. He is now under protection of France. And so this guy, so he releases a book about how Russians invaded Ukraine and how they did all the horrific war crimes and whatnot. And he releases this book, and book gains some traction because he also says, hey, by the way, I'm going to get profits from this book and I'm going to send it to support Ukraine. What a noble guy. Amazingly. We found a good Russian. Amazingly. So now he is like, yes, so he escaped Russia, the evil, bad Russia that treated him so poorly. He escaped all of the murders and tortures that were around him. So now he's going to help bring the light of justice to the Russian government and the Nazi regime that the Russia is. Well, not really. Like, he's Russian. What did we expect? So obviously some months later that he was looking at the book sales and it's like, wow, the book is doing quite well. That's a lot of money. And he's like, I'm retracting whatever I said about donating money to Ukraine. I'm actually not going to donate money to Ukraine anymore. I'm actually going to keep it for myself. Thank you. And then beyond that, he refused to testify against the Russian crimes. So he said that, like, no, no, I said nothing. I will not testify. Then a Ukrainian police officer tried to essentially get in contact with him to try to get his like statements for the Ukrainian justice system, to which he just exposed the and doxed and exposed the identity of this Ukrainian officer with all his data. So there we go. What a good Russian he it turned out to be. So it only took like a half a year since a person that we were like, yes, oh my God, you're such a poor thing, poor Russian, for him to finally smell money and betray everything. Everything. So, and now we're getting the same things with Norway. So there is now an ex-Wagnerite that is fleeing supposedly Wagner forces because otherwise they will kill him. And so he's fleeing to Norway and he's saying, well, it's like, oh guys, please let me in. I will tell you everything. Just get me asylum. I just want to live. I just want to have my life in Norway. You know, it's like, please, 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 I will behave good. I will do everything. The funny things, by the way, with Wagner's, did you know that Wagner technically doesn't exist in Russia? Because in Russia, there is no private company, private military company ideas. Let's drop the idea and obviously the fact that Wagner is a private military company. Obviously, it's just a group of people that are doing stuff. But under the Russian criminal law, uh, yes, the Russian criminal law, this is literally they don't exist. They're not part of the Russian military, and the fact that they're not part of Russian military in Ukraine by Ukrainian laws that makes them non-combatants. So if they are non-combatants, then the Geneva Convention doesn't technically follow them. So they are non-combatant criminals on the territory of Ukraine. So imagine something like a non-combatant, like something simple, similar would be, imagine a marauder. So there's like two armies fighting on the battlefield or like some city, and then marauders come and, for example, steal all the gold, all of the other stuff, and so on. They would be these marauders would be in the same legal framework as the whole Wagner group is, because they're not part of one army, they're not part of the other army. They're just criminals that are doing criminal activities with weapons on the territory of Ukraine. So they can and may be prosecuted if they're part of the Wagner group and not part of the official Russian forces. They can be prosecuted by the criminal law, and Ukraine can actually request the extradition of, for example, this Wagnerite to Ukraine to trial him because he was not a combatant. He doesn't follow the convention, so they don't need to keep him as a prisoner of war. And yeah, Police 911. Thanks for 100 Norwegian kronos. Germany, aka Scholz, wants to keep relationship with Russia. The flip-flopping is being done to keep a bridge for Germans to get back to licking that Russian gas pole in a future nice discount. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's. I can take long. I will come back to this topic, but let me just finish with the Wagnerites here. So the Wagnerites, this one, that asks for asylum in Norway, technically Norway can extradite him to Ukraine to be trialed for essentially being an illegal fighter on the territory of Ukraine. That's the funny part. And this obviously brings us to the main topic of today's discussion. There's something that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm pretty sure you already heard. Many channels have covered it. But there is a big kind of conflict that is... it's been ongoing. Like, I cannot say that it started, but it's been ongoing for a while. Like Russian army, I remember I made a video about Russian army shit, where I described different parts of the Russian military and so on. So basically, Wagnerites have been maybe not in an opposition to the Russian military, but it was definitely a project of Prigozhin that he did. So for him, this project that he was ongoing, he was doing quite well. And he was very happy when he saw the opportunity. After the invasion failed, and more importantly, after the Kherson offensive failed, after Russian military failed so hard also with Kherson and Kharkiv, Prigozhin saw his chance. And to that, he tried to jump the train. So he got basically, with some of the political will, he got friends with Kadyrov, and both of them essentially influenced Putin closely enough. So Putin essentially gave, let's put the Mr. Bold guy, the Surovikin guy, in charge of this operation because he's like a more Prigozhin favorite. So Prigozhin with that said, okay, I will be able to get more resources. That's why I'm in favor of this Surovikin. And Prigozhin did get more resources. This is where he got basically the ability to recruit prisoners. This is where he got access to additional equipment from the Russian military, additional assets, artillery, and so on. This is when he was able to storm Bakhmut, essentially. The problem is for Prigozhin, his goal was, and his objective was, to capture Bakhmut by the 15th of December. If you remember, there was the quick time event around the middle end of December where it was, okay, they're really pushing hard for Bakhmut. And it was like really going crazy. But he didn't, because as much as he wanted, he's not a miracle worker. And the Russian army is still shit. This brings us to today's situation. So Surovikin was demoted, and the demotion took place quite interesting. So instead of Surovikin, his place was taken by Gerasimov. Gerasimov was the commander of the Russian army before that. So Gerasimov was technically already above Surovikin. So he was already like, so Surovikin, this guy that was in favor of Wagner, was already kind of technically under Gerasimov. So he was like a subordinate of him. So there was no need for Gerasimov to come in and take his place. It was a clear demonstration of the fact that, hey, I'm taking your place. You are now just one of these guys, so you don't have a lot of say anymore. And Gerasimov is basically the representative of the military force. This will mean only one thing, because Gerasimov, by Wagnerites and by the Prigozhin himself, has been told in a no uncertain terms about how poorly they think of him. And now this guy is in charge. So we can expect that Wagnerites are going to be sent to the most difficult tasks that are completely impossible to execute, and they're going to have pretty much zero to negative equipment. So I think Gerasimov will punish Wagner and Prigozhin for whatever he did. I hope he can be prosecuted in Norway. That would be very nice. Thanks, by the way, for 109 Norwegian kronas, Arve. And this is the situation that we're in. So we have Wagner that are not very nice towards Gerasimov. Gerasimov then comes in, already starts dealing his tasks to Wagner, and most importantly, so in my videos, remember I told you that VDV, while there were forces, VDV was mostly used essentially as a, how do you say, stabilizing forces. So it was Wagner group that was going in front, mostly prisoners, and they died in droves. Like people said that it was crazy amounts that were died, and I mean videos show as much. And it was the Wagnerites that came in, and only once they secured the positions, that's when the VDVs came in. So Wagnerites pretty much with their blood and sweat took over this whole small settlement of Soledar, and by the end of it, Gerasimov said, well, it was actually not Wagner. There was no other units besides the Russian military formation that took over Soledar, and they released it as an official Russian statement. So they didn't acknowledge a thing about Wagner. It was all VDV and Russian units, Russian army units. Whereas obviously Wagnerites and Wagner affiliated media, they were like, oh yeah, it was only Wagner and so on. So basically, the whole actually like the whole description of today's video is the situation that we're having in between Wagner and the Russian military command. Now, Russian military command is going to be in charge with the next invasion. And Gerasimov, by the way, we all know Gerasimov quite well because Gerasimov were actually the person that orchestrated the initial offense towards Ukraine. He was the person that said it should be the Rosgvardia, which are the police units, the riot police units, that should drive in their vans in a long ass column towards Kharkiv and Kiev, and then they get burned. This was the guy. This was the guy that planned it all, like the actual execution of the operation. This was the guy that didn't make sure that everything is secure, that everything that needs to be bombed is bombed. That is exactly the guy. So we already see that it's maybe not the sharpest knife in the toolbox. So I'm hopeful about the invasion from the north yet again. Now, just to kind of put an endpoint, does this mean that we will see Russia falling apart? No, no, not at all. This is something that Putin has been doing for a while. Like, I know that a lot of us here have discovered Putin quite recently. Not Putin, but Russia and Russian internal politics quite recently. But overall, in Russia, this is how Putin was staying in power. He had different clans and had different factions inside of his court. And he basically made them, put them in a position where they fight it for essentially in between themselves for his favor. So right now we're just seeing another spiral of that fight. This will not change the overall course of the war. So the war is not going to end. Russia is also not going into disarray. This is not an indicator that there is something threatening Putin. Don't be fooled by that. This is an indicator that we are seeing another change of leadership for the war again. So it was one guy, then it was the other, then it was the other. And this brings us to most important things. That means that in strategic way, Putin is still playing politics. Remember why Kherson was such a bad idea? Because it was political decisions before the military one. And right now we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing that Putin is still a lot more interested in politics and his own court affairs than he's interested in whatever happens on the front lines. This is good news. That means that there is not going to be massive genius offensive that will overturn the war, which it obviously can't. So that's basically the thing that I wanted to tell you, and I hope it was enlightening. If you obviously have questions, let's discuss this and other things right now. I saw, guys, that you were writing a lot. I was just needed to finish out. Otherwise, people would say, it's like, hey, why your titles are so clickbaity and you don't even talk about things that you put on your video titles, despite me actually talking about whatever is on my titles every time. Okay, Robert Haring, let's respect Ukraine Matters in chat. I support all supporters of Ukraine, but we are now in Ukraine Matters. Did I miss something? Okay. Was there big disrespect to me again? I mean, guys, if you disagree with me, that is okay. You know, I'm a big proponent of democracy. I fucking love democracy because everyone has the right to have a different opinion. That is fine. That is totally fine. You know that my border is when we're going into fundamentals of democracy and when people are starting denying humanity itself, or they are actively sabotaging democracy itself. That is where like my line is drawn. If you disagree and you have valuable positions, that is totally fine. The trolls are trying to start a fight in chat over the enforcer and ally take people away from Ukraine Matters. The enforcer? Why would enforcer take stuff away? Like you should watch enforcer. He's not a bad guy. Like he's doing stuff. He's still getting the message. I've read criticism, guys, that you wrote that he's like treating it as a game or something. I mean, fair enough, but there are different people that try to follow this war, and let's be serious. It's very hard to follow more than a year of active warfare and sit down essentially with your hands grabbing your head and just seeing all the deaths and so on. We would just burn out. You cannot do it every day. So some people just like it a little bit lighthearted, obviously with the caveat that we should not forget that this is an awful war, and sometimes a reality check needs to be done. But overall, I see no problem with enforcing maybe having somewhat of a more lighthearted approach to covering this war, because he still brings a very positive thing to the table. He's bringing awareness of Ukraine. Ukraine does not disappear. That's fine with me. He's still contributing and helping Ukraine. Mika, well, the best outcome for the VDV stealing honor of occupying Soledar is that Wagner stopped fighting at least for a while. Oh, I think Wagners are going to be very dead very soon. Nicholas, well, I'm not sure if they're going to be killed, but I think they're going to be sent to the most difficult parts of the front line for them. Nicholas, do you think Germany will bend and allow for Leopard tanks export on Ramstein meetings in January? Yes. There's been too much pressure. Guys, important part, pressure works. Whenever we're raising objectives and criticizing, for example, Germany, Scholz, and so on, it works. It raises the pressure. Look at Switzerland. Look at Switzerland. Switzerland started reconsidering their approach because they got a lot of shit for their positions. It works. Literally, we live in democracy, so popular opinion matters. That's why when we have something, it's not just about expressing things. If we express it publicly, it works. So that's why, like, criticism, there is a valid criticism. Like, for example, saying the Germans are Nazis, sorry, but fuck off. But if someone is saying, well, I think the Scholz's SPD is playing way too much with the good Russia narrative, that's a very valid criticism. And we should express it more and more. Why? Because it works. Can Russian citizenry will stomach heavy losses to include 100 KIAs? Russians will rebel when their economy falls to the point governments can't make money. You're giving way too much credit to Russians. Russians will not rebel. Like, rule number one of Ukraine Matters Challenge, I'm going to put it as a rule. Rule number one, do not expect anything good to come out of Russians. There we go. Grizzly AP2. Putin is putting his biggest rivals into difficult positions so he can eliminate them. No, that's not what he's doing. That's not what he's doing. He is just playing with his court. He's been doing this game forever. He's been doing this game when he had a whole jump around game with who's going to be his successor, which turned out to be no one. But he did this whole game even back then. So no, it's not that. Alfie, is it possible to travel to Ukraine? I have friends in Kremenchuk that I want to look after. Regards, Alfie from Norway. I mean, if you can get to Poland with a plane, I'm pretty sure there are people that you can either ask, and there are buses that will go from the border of Poland then to some city and then take a train there. Yes, you can get to Ukraine. What do you think about history legends? He comes across little sus. What do you mean little sus? James, my dude, my friend. Whoa, where is my hot link to Laserpig? Like, the dude is just citing Russian propaganda and putting it as like a like a coat of paint on it and saying is like, well, but maybe I'm just asking questions here or something like this. It's like the dude is full of shit. So I used to say that's like, yeah, he's like this and that. That he's like, a lot of his statements were proven false, that a lot of his predictions were proven false, that a lot of times he's over exaggerating the Russian side and so on. But I'm just gonna call it as it is. By this point, he's just full of shit. So That's what it is. He doesn't have to like me. I'm pretty sure. I mean, like, he doesn't have to like me at all. I'm a tiny YouTuber compared to him. Like, he has his Russian money, whatever, like, or people that are pro-Russia watching him and saying, he is so neutral. Yeah, okay, fine, sure. Misha Sagun, where is the Solidar defense line? Some channels say that it isn't fully taken. Solidar is fully taken. It's been reported even. Remember, we talked about Robert Madyar, the battalion? He's like literally the eyes of Ukraine around Bakhmut. And he has stated in his Telegram channel that Solidar has already been taken. So Solidar is taken. The battles are continuing on the western outskirts of Solidar. It's along the river, the same river that goes through Bakhmut. Well, river. It's more of like a small stream, like a bigger stream. Let's put it this way, maxi stream, than a river. So yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, yeah. It's like history legends is Russian propaganda with a coat of paint. That's it. When does neutrality becomes complicitly? I mean, at some point, like when you state, well, there has been bombing of a house inside of Dnipro, but we need to look at all sides. Was it maybe because Ukraine just shoot down the missiles? We need to understand how things are happening. That's when neutrality becomes complacent. Like when SPD says, like when it's like we have interest in Ukraine, but we're not sure. Or when it's Switzerland says, oh, sorry, Ukraine wants to have these anti-air systems to shoot down those innocent missiles that are flying over their skies. Well, sorry, no, 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 we're neutral. We cannot allow Ukraine to do that. That is when neutrality becomes complacent. We need to understand one thing: war, when people starts dying, and especially if it's not like a war, like a proxy war or whatnot, if it's a war for survival, like a genocidal war that is happening in Ukraine, there is no gray zone. Like there is no gray zone. Anyone who says that there is a gray zone is full of shit. It's all black and white. One of the big problems of wars, it's always black and white. There is no gray zone in the war. Never was. Like in the reality, there was also like no, so it's like so. There's people when the people are claiming that they're a gray zone, that they want some kind of objective facts, neutrality. They're full of shit. Scott Lang, thanks for 10 gifted subs. Appreciate it. Like, thank you so much for supporting this channel. I really, really appreciate it. Any update from around Kremlin? Yes, there is an update. I'm gonna cover it on the next video, but roughly speaking, Ukrainians brought in armor. They're using a little bit the positions. They are pushing with the armor north of Kremlin, south of Kremlin. There are now battles within the Kremlin city line. That is what I can tell you right now. I will talk more about it in the video. Miguel, hello. Maybe a big question. After the war is over and Russia fucks off, what do you think about the position of Ukraine towards the West? Ally, positive, neutral, join NATO. Join NATO. It's in the Ukrainian constitution. Uh, like joining NATO and European Union is written in Ukrainian constitution. Antonio Bestwick, if you want to info on Jagger Jaffer guy, message the enforcer as he has two members of the members of F the guys unit in his stream chat. I will find out. Brian Millam, what do you think about Peter Zion's position on Russia's demographic collapse within a couple of decades? I mean, it's cool, but like I'm more preoccupied with the Ukrainian demographic demise right now, with the Russians coming here. So I don't really give a shit what happens with Russia. Sitting and thinking. I joined the stream late. Is there news about Kremlin? Just said. Solidar taking game over. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like like Russians played such a major propaganda message with this. Oh my god. Flash 73, thanks so much for 4 months. Slava Ukraine, indeed, my friend. Dikula, welcome to the Brother Dams. Thanks. Is the regiment of 100% women true? Potentially, yes. Why not? I mean, um, Ukraine, despite what Russian propaganda wants to drive you, like about, oh, it's like so homophobic, it's like Nazi, it's like sexism and so on. Ukraine was one of the post-Soviet countries that was one of the most open to diversity, and that also included, for example, the rights of women, like a progressive, like not diversity, but progressive thought. Let's put it this way. So pro-Soviet states, they suffer. They suffer. Let's not suffer. They are having trouble accepting a lot of the, how do you say, new waves of rights. And while, for example, in Belarus, like a post-Soviet state that is closely allied with Russia, there are still like a list of professions that women cannot work at. For example, in Belarus, a woman cannot be a tractor driver. So it's literally said in their laws that women are too stupid to drive a tractor. So Ukraine is obviously far beyond that. And Ukrainian society has been a lot more open both to gay people and to just being, it's like treating everyone equally. Ukrainian society, while there's still a lot of conservatism, there are still a lot of people. The general society is very much open. I think it's because Ukraine has a lot of cultures in it. Ukrainian society is a very, very multicultural. There is a lot of different cultures, like both Muslim, Jewish, and so on. It's like a mixed pot of all the different things, which is a lot of post-Soviet states are not. A lot of the post-Soviet states in Europe are kind of mono-nationalistic, if that makes sense. Like in Poland, there are Poles. In Latvia, there are Latvians. In Lithuania, there are Lithuanians. But Ukraine is this hodgepodge with a lot of different cultures, like Turkish, Tatar, Jewish. Like it's a very, very interesting place in that sense. And in that sense, they're also a lot more open to a lot of the other things. So most of the fascist stuff and so on, that's completely Russian propaganda, and intolerance as well, complete Russian propaganda. That doesn't mean obviously that they were like completely left wing, progressive thoughts running around with banners. No, no, they are very healthy in their perceptive. Hey, MJ, do you think then that Ingushetia is leading a mass exodus of terrorist Russia from? No, no. Ingushetia is too small to matter. Have a coffee on me. Thanks, Flash. I appreciate it. I appreciate for constant support. I really, really do. Have you read the retired U.S. Marine Scott Whitley's opinion on Ukraine losing war? It makes me mad. CF Beauty. I mean, like, there's plenty of talking heads in U.S. that spout nonsense. Like, was it Conor McGregor, whatnot? There's Scott Ritter. Was it the guy that says that wrote this article for the what was it called? Not the Washington Post, but something else. Yeah. I think it's was it External Politics or something like this. Yeah. I read that opinion. He's full of shit. Like I've read like Google. Whenever someone says like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" And then I Google like what was the previous works of the people, and it's he's full of shit. Will the border after the war between Russians and Ukrainians look like South Korea? Pete Lampus depends on the how the war will end. Very much depends on how the war will end. Ken Router, I don't remember where I saw this, but the word was that the Russians were spreading a lot of money around the German political parties. I mean, that's not like that's not something you need to be hearing anywhere. It's like any European can tell you that Russian money has been deep in the pockets of European politicians. Like any European citizen basically can tell you that. It's not a very big secret. It's like the worst hidden secret ever. Mike, those Russian demographics have been said to be one of the reasons for this war. Putin needs to nah. It's BS. I've heard this theory that like, oh, it was geographics and politics, demographics. Guys, Putin doesn't give a shit about people. Get it into your head. He doesn't give a shit about people. Like, he doesn't give a shit. That's it. Like after that, any kind of like, oh, Putin was just wanted to solve a problem because for Russia demographics, yeah, and that's why he sent hundreds and thousands of perfectly breedable men, breedable age men to die. It's a completely non-starter. It's a stupid argument. Oh my God. Please, no, no. Listen to my channel. Watch me more. I tell you how it is. No, no, but no. I've heard this theory also, Mike. It's a complete non-starter. It's like it doesn't. It like the facts don't support it. Like when you stop and start thinking about like if I want to solve demographic problems, is invading another country and killing a lot of people is really a good solution for that. That's sorry. That's another. That's Jesus. Does one wise man said, "Believe in armed forces of Ukraine." Yes, believe in armed forces of Ukraine. By the way, we're 1,500 guys. Fucking yes. Every stream, I love you guys. Like we start with like a couple of hundreds, and we easily get to 1,500. So thank you so much for liking and sharing this stream. This is literally amazing because maybe some more people will come. More people, more people can get to ask the question why Putin started this war, and I will get the answer, the actual truth, and not someone that someone says on the internet. Robert Harrington, what other support can nations do to support Ukraine? More weapons, more fucking weapons. What happens with Moldova after the war? Will they declare independence and need protection? What? Moldova is independent, dude. It's an independent country. Moldova is an independent country. Blue Eyes. Georgie, get in touch with the enforcer. He has a contact with Magyar unit. Thanks, I will do. Good evening from the Gent did commander, Ryan Forrest. Say hi to him. I very appreciate his videos. I'm actually quite interested, like, why he's not getting a lot of views. Like, I mean, like, though, again, like, I'm on the same kind of trajectory. I'm a very, very small channel, not really growing. But I don't care. While I'm being watched by one person, I'm going to continue doing this until the war. I don't really care that much about growing this channel. I just want more people to know the truth. What are reliable sources of information regarding casualties, both sides? Russian Ministry of Defense. Ooh, Silver Earth. Thanks so much for a Zelensky subscription. That is massive. Thanks. I appreciate it. Why do you re-upload the live streams without live stream content? Thanks for your work. Love you, man. So it's what YouTube did. It's basically when the stream ends, it sends me to the editing. Because I use some music, I get hit with copyright strikes every time. So every time the streams end, because like I like to promote Ukrainian music at the start, I like to get familiarized. If I just release a video, then my channel is getting notification instantly. Hey, your channel is hit with the content and so on. So that's why I just like essentially unlist the video while it's being processed and so on. So that in that sense, I don't have any problems with that. And in that editing, I'm able to essentially edit the live stream and then set it like without the first part, without the music. And when I save it, it saves it as a video instead of a live stream, because YouTube debate this distinction between what a live stream video is and what a video is, if that makes sense. And video tab, some people don't even know that it exists on the channel. Like some people don't know that the tab on the channel live is actually where for example, the recordings from the streams are coming to. A lot of channels, because of that, are having troubles because they go into channels, they open channel descriptions like last video was like 6 months late uploaded to go. Well, it's actually wasn't 6 months ago. It's like you just need to go to the live tab. It's just not very convenient. So instead, I just save it as new videos because of all of that to get through this BS. So that's why I try to read the questions. Casper Lindgren, Lindegård. Thank you so much for sub. Welcome, welcome. How many countries do you think there will be between Russia split? I'm not sure Russia will split K-Dog. I'm not sure it will do. I'm very negative in what Russia will become after the war. and I don't have a good outcome in my head. Huawei is solving Russian demographic problem permanently. Oh, this is golden. Can I pin this? Yes, I will pin this. Oh, this is perfect. Thanks. Uh, Taiste Lukalkunna. Taiste Lukalkunna. I guess I'm butchering the name, but whatever. Captain, hello. 17 DKK, Danish kroner, thanks. Danish L2 tanks to Ukraine now. Yetak for that. Amen. Do you think Putin wanting to take control of Ukraine's oil and gas fields are a reason for the invasion? No one seems to be talking about natural resources in this war because this is not a war about natural resources. Okay, Putin said everything why he invaded. He doesn't care about the oil, gas, whatever. Like, he has everything. Like, are you telling me that Russia had too little oil? Did Russia had too little gas? It's arguments like these that are like people saying, oh, there is gas in Ukraine. Oh, right. That's why Russia needed to invade it. Oh, yeah, and also lose their oil fields and gets the sanctions and everything, and also like you know, yeah, no, it wasn't. It doesn't follow. The problem is like when you start considering what it brings, it doesn't follow. Like it doesn't follow. It was a war for resources. Putin would have bailed out years ago. Well, a year ago, I would say. You could put chat on the video somewhere in the corner, so even as video would have your chat. I've tried, but it's very inconsistent. So it's like I'm answering something, and it usually shows, like a small part of the chat. It's like, hey, yay, hi. It would be, where is it? Like, it would be somewhere here on the screen, and it would be like, run away. Because the only way I'm reading the chat is because I'm slowly scrolling through it. If I would follow it live, I would not be able to read every single question. And I'm answering questions like that are way behind. Do you think Denmark will send Leopard 2s to Ukraine? I hope so. So far, Denmark has been very supportive of Ukraine, and I'm expecting the Danish society to continue being supportive. Germans fired their defense minister. Didn't she quit? I thought she quit. UK sending 14 main battle tanks is just the start. 127 more in storage, plus 87 being draw from services. Yeah. I mean, the more the merrier, especially Challenger Turks. Yeesh. That thing is pretty badass, at least as I've heard. Ukrainian Maggie is saying to me, okay, I'm expecting a troll. Ukraine mattress. Ukraine mattress. I just love you how you're so honest and speaking truth the horrific crimes committed against humanity in Ukraine. Yeah, okay, no, it was just an honest misspelling. Yeah, Maggie. I mean, that's my problem. Like, I don't know how to be like a good YouTuber, good actor, whatnot. I don't know how to be likable. I am just who I am. That's just like what I do. And if I start pretending, then what's the point of me having this channel? If I just start pretending who I'm not and try to do content for the views or whatnot, why wouldn't I start, like, well, I would say Minecraft channel, but like Minecraft is not very popular. It's like I was never a war guy. I never followed, there was no interest for me in tanks or warfare or how people kill each other. I just couldn't like I just couldn't look at it and see people talk about, well, the war actually has been started because of the demographic gas fields that Russia is having. So they want to solve the demography of the Russian gas fields in Ukraine. And now they're fighting the what was the Peter Zehan told it at Joe Rogan's, the Nazi Jewish Satan worshippers from Ukraine. Yeah, absolutely. That's probably where the gas fields are coming from the depths of hell. You can't be that bad, yeah. You guessed me fewest. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Martian Sea Cake. If flankers get redeployed somewhere else, it would be nice if they get redeployed in north to attack Kiev. The human wave tactics will work there very well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Don Baca, picking up our topic about the gas demographics and so on. Oh, gay demons. Yeah, sorry, sorry, gay demons. Gay demons, Jewish Satan worshippers. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, gay demons. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So, oh my God, I lost the day Barca. The message was just here. But okay, I lost the message. But the message was basically talking about, oh, it was about the land corridor from in between Crimea to Donbass. Yeah, again, if it's just about the land corridor, why come to Kiev? Why? It doesn't make sense. What was it? A feint, right? Why hold on to Kherson? Why? Why? There is too many whys that we just don't want to answer it. It's the same thinking of trying to find, the genius of Putin just escaping us somewhere closely. That Putin is actually this great mind that is just overthinking us all, and he actually planned this all along. He didn't. He's a moron. He's coward. Hmm. Yeah. Latest news about military beavers. Oh yes, that's very good. Yeah, I saw the news report that so on the border of Ukraine, near Belarus, because Ukraine kind of mined the forest. So there is like forest and there is like some rivers and so on that are in that area. And usually it's kind of more or less maintained. However, now because the forests and those like pre-forest areas are mined, there is like no human that are happening going there. So now beavers that are living in that area started building dams and mass in that area, and that basically flooded quite a large area. And now that whole area basically turned to marshland. So now even if they wanted to essentially attack on that direction around like north, it would be quite problematic because now they more marshes that weren't even there before because now they appeared. So yeah. What do you make of Peter Zehan's take on the war? I disagree with him a lot, but I mean he's doing what he's doing. I mean he expresses his thought. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I disagree. I think he has just the attitude that the person had, but as far as I'm aware, his overall attitudes are not very positive to Russians. So he's on the right side, but obviously he has some of the weird delusions. I'm not exactly sure which one exactly was it. I cannot remember right now. But some of the things that he was like, yeah, that's totally wrong. Yeah. Thanks for all the good comments, guys. Appreciate it. Paul, serious question. Is the support of the USA assured beyond 2023? Are contracts beyond 2023 in place? I ask because I fear interventions from the GOP. Yeah, I think Ukraine is perfectly support. I think a lot of fear is there. However, we need to understand that Lend-Lease is still in place, despite as Lend-Lease went for this year, this financial year, and the next one. I think it's for the two ones. But overall, even in Republican Party, it's a very, very, very slim minority that is against Ukraine. So I think when we're talking about anything that the extreme wing of the party can do, yes, they had the essentially the deciding vote inside of a house, but one thing is just getting somewhat of a upper point on the house, and completely other is dictating their will to the whole GOP. So no, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Vlad Vexler actually did a reaction on Peter Zeihan's interview going in depth. Thanks, Darth. I will check it out. And by the way, Darth, personal thanks from everyone that is reading my channel. Like, holy shit, man. You're putting so much work and so much bodies into this war. That's the Darth that we kind of like and love. Please send more body bags. Konstantin MT. Russian news will make it mutated Nazi beavers created in Ukraine, CIA run labs. Yes, yes, yes. We all know that Russia attacked Ukraine to prevent the deployment of the nuclear weapons in the Ukrainian biolabs. Yeah, yeah. How do you think Putin goes away? Falls out of the window, falls down the stairs, magical disappearance act. It's unclear. Chris B, I live by the Mexican-US border and there is a lot of Ukrainians stuck trying to get through. For those of you in the States, please help put pressure on politicians to do more. Wow, Chris, thanks so much for this important message. Can I pin it? I cannot pin super chats. That's so weird. So I can pin normal messages, but I cannot pin super chats. Okay, interesting. Did you see Laserpig annoying the Lyra guy? Yeah, it was. Yeah, my brain cells died watching that guy. I mean, anyone who supports Russia is like, I constantly repeat it, but anyone who supports Russia falls in one of the three categories. A, they are stupid beyond belief. They are so moronically idiotic dumbasses that they forgot what humanity looks like and how to distinguish any kind of good and sensible from evil. So that means that they're completely gone for humanity as a person that can think rationally and perceive reality. Secondly, they are just plain evil. They know what Russia is doing and they support it for reasons X. So they're like, yes, I support it. The third one, they are just malicious. They usually it's like some kind of politicians or businessmen and so on. It's the people that know what Russia is doing. They maybe don't support it themselves. They think it's evil. However, they see and try to use it as an ability to provide clout for themselves, to get subscribers on YouTube, to get money as a politicians, to get re-elected. To ask questions: when will Ukraine get the accountability for all the weapons that U.S. has been supplied, despite Ukraine having one of the best accountabilities for any weapons anywhere right now in Ukraine. So that's kind of those kind of people. So whatever category one of those three falls, a person that supports Russia, I'm completely uninterested in any kind of reasons or any words that come out of their mouth holes at all, to be honest. What do you think will happen with Ukrainian economy after the war? Will it stagnate and grow? Grow exponentially. There is a lot of money expecting for this war to end. And we all know that post-war countries always get exponential growth. The only cases when countries don't grow, if it's the conflict was devastating, but there was no public clout around this conflict, and people just didn't know that the war happened, or it's like was no name or something. Ukraine conflict is well covered, so there's a lot of money waiting for Ukrainian war to be over. Sorry, I joined the stream late, but how are things going on in Kremina? Things are going fine. They are fighting near Chervonopapivka. They're fighting inside of Kremina city line. There is a lot of shelling. Russians are not having it very good. I will cover more in the videos to come. Brian, do we have evidence that the Russians are suffering from industrial shortage, burying machines, parts, and so on? I am praying it's true. Russian production capacity is low. Are they suffering? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I because we know war allows repurposing of a lot of equipment, the civilian equipment, into military needs. So potentially a lot of the equipment is being repurposed. Maybe it's not as big of a problem as we think. Do you think Putin feels serious hit from Prigozhin? Raven 7 asks. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that Putin feel. Raul, it seems like Ukraine will get shitloads of IVs and APCs without US Abrams. Will there be enough main battle tanks? Good question. Good question. Ukraine needs about, as Aluzhny said, 300 main battle tanks, but he said that any tanks. So potentially, together with the Soviet era equipment deliveries, yeah, potentially just Leo 2s. Like if there is like good, like a 150 tanks sent to Ukraine, yeah, sure, it should be enough. No, no, no. BT and SF, BTINSF. The Land Lease Act is open for the president to work during 2022 and 2022 23 fiscal years. It was in the Land Lease law, the act itself, that it applies. The extension of this act applies for 2022 fiscal year, which started, I believe, the 1st of November last year. So this year technically is the 2022 fiscal year, and 2023 fiscal year starts in November at this of 2023. So it's this and the next one where Lend Lease is going to be operational. Okay, I don't see any questions with that at me, so I'm gonna move to the next topic. How long we've been online? We have been talking for over an hour already. Wow. Wow. Remember, if you want to ask questions, put an at Ukraine Matters so I can read it. All right. I've talked about Filatov, about this guy that from Wagner as well, and interesting topics. So Bloomberg reported that in the Baltic Sea, over 30% increase of shipment of Russian oil happened. And some people, for some reason, decided that this is some kind of betrayal, that Russia now trades more oil than it did before. What we forgot to mention is that the transit of oil is now forbidden via pipes. And Russia cannot just, like, because they don't have pipes to India, they cannot pipe their oil to India. So the sold oil that Russia is able to sell to India now needs to go via the sea route. So while there is an increase in the sea route activity, the overall point doesn't matter if Russia sells oil or not sells oil. If Russia sells oil to India in a negative, with negative profit, if that's even a thing, if I can say, it's like, so basically a loss, is it really a gain for Russia? Do you have any info about Slovenian tanks? Yes, there have been multiple videos about T-55s being part of the units in Ukraine. They are now being used and they are being deployed and expected during the next offensive. Ken, what if Russia doesn't quit after being kicked out of all of Ukraine, keep sending missiles and artillery attacks? Well, then Ukraine just will need to boost their air defense and join NATO. And the first day Ukraine joins NATO, Russia will stop firing. I can guarantee that. Polis 911, thanks for 200 Norwegian kronos. Russia invaded Ukraine represents freedom. Ukraine moving to West is a story of success. It makes Russian question why do they need Putin and ruins the USSR to no dreams. And UA having gas and oil ruins Russians' monopoly. You're overthinking it. Putin is not that smart. But we are post factum rationalizing. We are trying to pull all of these explanations post factum invasion, but it's not like. But overall, Ukraine is a story of success to an extent. I have a lot of criticism to say about how Ukraine was in the late 90s and early 2000s. It wasn't the best place, and I had a lot of criticism, and I still actually have a lot of criticism to Ukrainian state, but after the war. If the US sends ATACMS, prime targets could be the Kursk bridge. I'm thinking you're meaning Kerch bridge on reopening day and the Wagner HQ in St. Petersburg. Not politically correct, but would be strong message. I don't support that. I don't support that. I don't think that Wagner Wagner center, like it's not a military object, because remember Wagner doesn't exist as a combatant, so it's not a military formation unit. Um, as for bridges, bridges are valid military targets. Do you think Darth Putin? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure Darth Putin is gonna end up in Prague for sure, for sure. Max Christensen, do you think we see another war in the Balkans between Serbia and Bosnia and Kosovo? If it's going to be a war, it's going to be a very quick one, because I'll remind you that K4 is still in the area, and if Serbia decides that to try their luck, they're going to very quickly find out that it was a bad deal. Serbia doesn't really have nukes, so no one is going to be very judgy about it. Frosty Lake, Ukraine has electronics and support to be able to done Kremlin. Ukraine has electronics and support to be able to drone Kremlin. Should they? No. It's a civilian target. Ukraine should not attack civilian targets. It will feel good, but it doesn't look good. Ukraine Ukraine is struggling because they need to keep up their image, so they cannot just pay back Russians with their own essentially blood. Grant Cam L 0341. I look forward to seeing Ukraine special police hunt down war criminals after the war, my friend. Oh yeah. That is going to be exciting time. Like if they think that Mossad was bad, Jesus. I'm pretty sure Ukraine is going to be on a whole another level. Dizzy Dog, do you think the German business thinks future Ukraine is threatened to its business and influence in the US? Yes. I mean, a lot of German big industries that are dominating EU were built because they were getting exquisitely cheap energy from Russia. So they were able to essentially undercut a lot of markets. So a lot of German businesses that have been built on that are feeling threatened. Yes, it's not a big secret. Vlad Drak, it doesn't matter, because if they sell tenfold more, they actually make money, not to mention you buying the same Russian oil from India. Huh? Russia is selling oil to India with a loss. Like, it does. If you sell 10 pieces, what? Okay, how do I put it in the simplest terms? If you have 3 apples and you eat 4 of them, how many apples do you have? That's Russia selling oil. Marcus Fairley, do you think we give too much information about what equipment we are sending, how big of an issue it is? It's not an issue. Um, the whole dance around what we're sending is because there's phantom pains in a lot of Western countries about nuclear weapons. Everyone understood that Russia has no, like Putin is too afraid. He's pissing his fucking pants with any kind of nuclear actual use of nuclear weapons. So, and he has used every weapon in his playbook. He doesn't have anything else. The only thing he has is shooting missiles at civilians. That's it. But he's already doing that. So right now, if we just in the West and our politicians get over these phantom pains and phantom fears, then we can finally start helping Ukraine for real. And that's why declaration of we're sending more and more weaponry is so important to overcome that. We see that, for example, a lot of more older nomenclature that was like hot shit some time ago, like, you know, howitzers like 105 or some kind of APCs, they're not even being declared anymore. They're just being sent. Like, for example, Italy almost never declares anything, yet they support Ukraine quite extensively with a lot of weapons. Or France. France also declares only very, very minimal, but they send a lot. Why is a Singapore-based channel as Defense Politics Asia supporting Russia but pretend to be objective? Do you think they're receiving money from Russia? I mean, I explained there are three types of people that support Russia. You can choose whichever one you want. There are three reasons. Whichever it is, I don't care, to be honest. That's why I think we need to like and share a link to the stream so more people see the actual coverage of. Okay, that was too much shameless. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop, guys. I'll stop. But it really helps the channel. Like seriously, it's very hard to convey just how much it helps, and it does help. Kellen Dunn, welcome by the way. I didn't notice when you arrived. I'm pretty sure you already wrote a lot. Should UA be concerned with the new mobilization? Ru's strategy of throwing warm bodies and help with them stabilize the front. Does UA need more troops or just more weapons? More weapons. Just more weapons. Like literally, the only thing Ukraine is missing is weapons. Get more weapons. That's it. Because untrained troops are good when you're attacking, because you can throw bodies and whatnot. When Ukraine has the critical mass of weapons and they're able to attack themselves with a proper like massive armored fist, then at that moment just the light infantry that Russia is having is not really going to provide a lot of defensive capabilities. Is Wagner mercenaries at Steel Railway Station? Yes, they are. They are. I don't believe Russia is selling oil at a loss. Well, I mean, it's good that you don't believe it, but like they do. I mean, like I don't know how to argue this. I don't know how to argue this. It's like, well, Russia is making money. It's like, no, Russia is not. It's saying selling oil with a discount, and Russia is selling oil with a very very big discount, and it's delivering oil not via pipelines. It's delivering oil via like shipping. So like all of that means that Russia is selling oil at a discount, and it cannot not sell oil because they don't have the storage facilities within Russia. And if they stop pumping oil, they will just freeze and completely will. And Russia doesn't have technology to refreeze it, so they just need to sell it. So if you just say, well, I just don't believe it, I don't have an argument against it. Like you just like, well, okay, cool story, bro. That's not an argument. There's a very nice video about nukes in Secret Cabal's channel. Oh, I need to see this. A Secret Cabal made a really good video about how many tanks Russia has. And to be honest, I think it was pretty much on point because that's what we were seeing basically from the start of the war. Because right now we're seeing what we're seeing, right? So we're seeing either it's super old Russian T-62s that are coming into front lines, or it's the T-90s, the one that are either freshly produced, and Russia produced like some. Oh my God! I believe it was. Sorry, if I press the earpiece, it starts playing music. That's how it happens. So it's T90Ms. It's the one that Russia produced, and I believe Russia can produce like something. I've heard numbers like 70 to 90 a month. This is the Russian production rates. Though I'm not sure if it was all T90s or was it like the total tank fleet with also taking into account refurbishment of the old Soviet tanks. So all in all, we see pretty much exactly what the guy with the covered cabal predicted with the tank fleet. I agree. Georgia should kick Russia out. I mean, Georgia has the pro-Russian government, so it's kind of hard to do. The analyst. I read that Russia must keep the piped oil flow. Oh, yeah, I just said it. Yes, Russia must keep piping the oil because a lot of the Russian oil is coming from the how do you say from like a permafrost area essentially. And if they stop pumping oil, then their oil shafts freeze. And to re-drill them, Russia doesn't have equipment. It was done by Western companies. So, and these Western companies have pulled out of Russia. Yes. Do you think Germany will finally okay to Leopard 2s? Yes, I think so. Oil at a loss. The whales need to be working. Yes, just said it. Weapons are one thing. Mika, weapons are one thing. A lot of other supplies are needed to keep fighting in fighting conditions. Yes, and Ukraine is getting a lot of weapons, but weapons is the most pressing one because weapons is what can help end this war. Like every time you send something to support Ukrainians, you're helping them. Fair enough. However, every weapon that is being sent to Ukraine is helps reducing the total time of the war. So, because Ukraine needs to get the critical mass of weapons so it can overthrow Russia. And the closer we get to the critical mass of weapons, the better it is. Tonya Kangas, thank you so much for having the live chats. It helps us concerned let off the steam. Absolutely. I mean, I try to do it in every video. I try to always like keep the eye on the ball, guys. This is actually let's talk about channel. Like let's I have last half an hour. Let's talk about the channel stuff. So I see that how do I put it? My content is not very good. Like I'm not very honestly, it's not. It sounds really bad. Let's put it this way: the situation with a lot of tactical fighting really doesn't help with the fact that I'm trying to always focus on the bigger picture. Remember that I showed the map of Solidar, and that was like just dot on the map. And this is how I literally see the actions on the front line. Like it's barely moving. It's like almost nothing is happening. So I'm not really covering a lot of like news and stuff like that. Like I don't have like a pictures or videos to discuss and so on that other daily channels are doing. And I'm thinking that a lot of this makes a lot of my content that I'm producing quite stale. So I'm thinking if I should maybe cut down on these how do you say, cut down on map update videos until we get some kind of actual activity, maybe to two or one per week, maybe even just have one like at the end of the week and have like a strategic overview of what's happening, or have a video if something movement is happening, and then maybe have either more live streams or question answers or something else. Tell me what you think, guys. Because I don't know. I'm actually wondering this myself because I've seen a couple of last videos. It's like, yeah, I'm basically saying the same things. Like because I don't go that much in details into tactical positions because I think it takes the point of the ball. So we're starting to focus. I was like, oh, which hill the Russians are on? It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter which hill they're on, to be honest. But it's more exciting that way, and I'm feeling that some of that excitement is being lost with my channel. So, what do you think? Okay, your coverage is perfectly fine. Appreciate it. Yes. If Russia could produce 90 tanks a month, how Ukraine needs just 300 Western tanks? Russia is losing more than 90 tanks a month. Significantly more. I love the daily map. Yeah, but I don't really do the daily map. The problem. Like and sometimes it's actually like I'm really pushing it with like what to say. Because as I say, like I'm focusing so much on a bigger picture. Kellendan, I really enjoy your live streams, so please give me more prior notice when you have them. I just found out this one last minute. Ooh, Kellen, sorry, but yeah. I think I will. I usually put notifications for live stream, like the day the live stream will be. But I think with the time difference, me in Europe and you are from the US, probably, like most of you, then probably I should put the notification like a day before. Let's do that. I will do that. Does Ukraine have the money to buy jets? So why didn't they buy? No one is selling them. Don't chase the metrics, chase the substance. I mean, Niels, that's not going to change. I'm not going to be saying the and like how do you say, uh, explaining the metrics. That's like I mean, I am literally asking the questions. Like in a substance sense, I'm feeling that like more videos that I produce are not explaining anything new that I haven't explained. But I know a lot of people really like that because they, for example, didn't see one video, they see the other one. Hmm. I'm oh my God, Darth Putin is amazing. I'm so happy to have Darth Putin at this channel because yeah, on average, yeah, it's like on average, Russia was losing 9 tanks a day during 2022 because obviously when there is a major offensive, the tank loss spikes. But overall, yeah, yeah. Just in reporting from cover the daily well, you benefit from a bit more depth, Georgie. I mean, reporting from Ukraine is covering quite well a lot of the, a lot of the details. More live streams, 1 or 2 map updates a week sounds good. Yeah, we can do it like, and I can make shorter live streams. So like the one that we did with an hour, so I can just have like this like an hour stream and so on. So I have like now, so like it would be 2 streams, 2 videos per week, something like this. Overview and Positive Spirit. Oh, John, Jochen or John van Zanten. I mean, positivity and positive outlook is going to be flowing out to me because one thing we need to get ourselves clear. Yes, we might have really dark days. We might have days like, for example, for me was Dnipro, but for you, maybe it's going to be some other day where you're just going to feel shit. This is really fucked up. And, but all in all, we need to always keep an eye and see that in the end, there is no way for Russia to win this war. So there will come a day when basically my stream is going to consist of me just sitting here smiling and just like victory. Yeah. There will be a day like this. But when the day comes, it might be a while. So we just need to make sure that we always get ourselves up. And I mean, like, you're helping me a lot. Like, a lot of these chats, like, you're cheering me up. Like, so it's a two-sided feedback. You're saying it's like, yeah, hey, Georgie, you're cheering me up. Cool. But you're cheering me up. So, Luis, thanks for 10 bucks. Christopher Brander, hey, Georgie, you're talking about Russian oil, gas, but could it be that it is Siberian sometimes? You mean like that the oil belongs to Siberia? Yeah. But like it's still it's Russia for now at least. Give universal coordinated time when announcing a stream. Usually, YouTube adjusts like when I put the notification up, YouTube adjusts the time to your local time. So you will see when the stream is scheduled, it will be in your local time. But I will do it like a day before. Jonas BL3, quality over quantity, IMO. Wait with making videos until you feel actually have something to talk about. Fair enough, yeah. Yeah. I still see much hesitation from West to go into wartime production, but Russia is in the wartime production. Do you have concerns? No, no. Just because the production volumes of the West are so much bigger. Because yes, some parts of it is not yet subscribed, but then again, other parts are. So once we go into the work and production, long-term contracts, some of them already being signed, like Poland and so on, it's gonna kick out. And the Western production facilities are so much more powerful, even without the wartime production. The enforcer is planning a big 24-hour stream on a day 365. He's asking streamers to join him. Dennis, Davido, Starsky, and Funker530 plus others will join him. I mean, if I get an invite, I'll join. But I haven't heard from Enforcer ever. So, and besides, I'm a very small YouTuber, so That's not really like I would expect someone like Jake Bro, Vlad Vexler, or anyone else to be joined before. Like I'm like a third grade from the list, so it's fine. Yeah, Constantine, for example, might join. Whatever. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of other things. Can you do another fundraiser this month? Actually, not a bad idea. Do you want to do a fundraiser for Madhyar, guys? Would you be okay for a fundraiser for Madhyar? I'll see if I can organize. I'll get maybe in touch, and then we go get a fundraiser for Jaga Jaga. What you think? Sounds like a good idea? A Jaga Jaga live stream. I think that's not a bad idea. Uh, Ehud, I really love your channel. It really comes through that you're doing this of ideology. I mean, I'm not really hiding it. Your analysis seems always to the point, not overhyped. Greetings from Israel. Keep it up. Thanks. I mean, like, I try to keep it real with the analysis. I've expressed this many times, but I want Ukraine to win. But I want Ukraine win in the real world rather than people like being in their fantasy worldview was saying is like, no, 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 Ukraine is actually still fighting in Solidar. It's like, no, they're not. They've been pushed to main positions outside the city, and they have only like couple of groups that are being scouting inside Solidar, but Russians are advancing very firely. So that's why I don't feel like bad reporting when something bad is happening. Yes, bad things will happen. That's the nature of war. It's not always sunshine, rainbows, and our victory. That's the unfortunate part. Sometimes it's videos of Ukrainian soldiers being slaughtered by the knife from the Wagner mercenaries. That's the war. And I have no problem talking about this. But I obviously support the only good side in this conflict. How well is Ukraine's FPV drones coming along? Really well. Really well. Really, really well. I've actually reached out to some of the people and so on because I got some messages to me about some of the European produced drones, and I'm right now trying to get in contacts and so on what people are doing. But essentially, FPV drones is a $400 worth drone that is able to carry an ammunition that is big enough to blow up like a BTR or BMP or something like light or maybe like yeah, light armored vehicles, which is amazing. It's really, really good because Russia has so much shitty equipment that having a lot of these cheap drones is priceless. I mean, Perun has a superb channel. Yes, I mean, Perun is one of the best things you can watch on YouTube, period. Stop putting myself down. I'm not putting myself down. Just I'm just it's like I look like as the same way I look at the war realistically, I look at myself realistically. It's all constructive feedback for myself. Don't worry. Like I'm not how do you say? I don't think that I'm bad. I think I'm doing quite fine for myself. Again, I said I started this channel for two people, and I'm going to continue doing even if there is going to be like two people watching me. It doesn't matter. Dennis Davidov is making an appearance. Is he bigger than you? Oh my god, man! Nice comparison. Thanks. No, Dennis Davidov is huge. He's like what, 10 times bigger? Just 10 times. Like if I would put it like in a gym perspective, I would be well myself, and Dennis would be like Mr. Universe, I guess. What's the title of the top bodybuilder? I guess it's Mr. Universe. I think so. Sally Luz would be glad to hear about any other things happening in Ukraine as well as the war. Fundraiser would be a good on rehab soldiers. Yeah, okay. Rehab soldiers, also idea. Ukraine matter. Badly want Ukraine to win, but I don't see the realism in saying Russia can't possibly win. It's a war of attrition. Ukraine has weapons advantage, but Russia has manpower advantage. Uh, okay, I'm actually calling you like a concerned troll by this point. Like now, before you were like, okay, no, 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 Russia is not selling oil at a discount. I was like, yes, it does. And it's like, yeah, 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 Russia is actually totally cannot lose this war. I mean, yes, Russia is losing. Russia lost this war. Like that's already a fact. There is no coming back. There is no coming back. Like it's, how do I put it? Uh, Russia made too many strategic mistakes. For Russia to start anything, they need time. And their biggest enemy is time. And the problem is that Russia doesn't have time. They have manpower, but they don't have time. The problem of Russia is not manpower. The problem of Russia is not the equipment and so on. They have it right now. What they don't have is the time. In Ukraine, we're seeing that Ukraine every day is getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Russia's ability to reinforce itself is not there. So what I said to you is was two lines. Russia at the start of the war and then Ukraine. At some point, when Ukraine got HIMARS and so on, at some point they equalized, and that's why there was a stalemate. But then, after time, the Russian forces that they were in Ukraine started falling down, and while they still had a lot of equipment, they just didn't have enough manpower, and that's why their graph essentially went down, and that's why Ukraine got the upper hand. However, then Russia mobilized, and they were able essentially basically equalize. So now we're seeing some places Ukraine having an advantage, where other places Russia is having an advantage. They're about equal. So they're pushing and pulling here and there. But it's not endless. Russia doesn't have endless resources. And if you think they are, they're wrong. They're not. Like it's the defeatist paradigm of the West. It's like, but Russia cannot lose. Like, oh, Putin always have the plan. Like, oh, Putin wouldn't be like going all in and like don't have any plan. We're always trying to find some other explanation, but there is none. Russia made all mistakes. Their outlook is not bad. They're fighting a war where they have no friends. Even Iran, that was promising a lot of missiles and whatnot, at some point realized, yeah, probably not. China is turning away from Russia. Russia doesn't have, like, what was the expression? Going to war is a stupid thing in 21st century. The only stupider thing you can do is going to war alone. And this is exactly what Russia is doing. And while they have a lot of stocks of the Soviet stuff and so on, as Russia itself, the modern Russia, not the Soviet Union, and not the past greatness that they had, supposedly, at some point, Russia right now is a pitiful, miserable economy with miserable, pitiful, poor people that are trying to play on the propaganda narratives where they are defeating and making and subjugate the whole world. Well, Ukraine is dedicated to show the world that Russians are wrong. And the world listened, and now we're supporting Ukraine. And Ukraine is proving again and again and again that this is going to go only one way. The only thing Ukraine needs is resources. And resources are coming. And we know that. So that's why there is no victory for Russia. There's only slow, painful, bloody defeat. And this is what's waiting for Putin. And this is what's going to happen with Putin. There we go. What a good monologue. All right. I think this is pretty good point. Okay, 51, 1 hour 51. Let's do 9 minutes more. We talk, and then I'm gonna end it up here. It's we're again 1400, and yes, I'm trying to find where you were mentioning me before. Where did I stop? Fundraiser, rehab. This is where I was reading. Okay, perfect. More live streams, more op-ed videos and live streams matches your approach to the content better and more strategic and tactical and difference in your content. Yeah, I think, for example, I really like Jake Bro's content. Like, I think I fell deep down in this trap with like map and so on. But then again, like when I was doing this, there was a lot of things happening, you know, on the front line. There was Kharkiv offensive and so on. And I do have access to a lot of the tactical information, you know, from people on the front lines, from a lot of the sources that I follow. They give a lot of tactical information. but I think I need to incorporate more like a perspectives of what Jake is doing, like where he's doing some kind of actual overview of the big picture, like with the oil prices and so on. I think that just kind of, because that's also the things that I'm following. It's just I'm following so closely on the map that I feel that this was the standard. So I need to rethink this. But I'm gonna take all of the feedback. CF Beauty, Georgie, your keep war topics fresh and top of mind. That matters. Thank you so much. Thanks. But it's not me that matters. I am just a fucking guy in YouTube that's yelling at the camera. And while I am awesome and you guys awesome, by the way, have you read my community feed? You guys are awesome. But Ukraine matters. That's what matters. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of actual heroes that are fighting right now in their cold trenches on the front lines. And whatever I'm doing here is completely irrelevant compared to the actual feats of bravery that they are doing every day, putting their lives at the risk while I'm sitting here in Denmark. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that we're able to do more, and that's why I'm so thankful for you guys for watching these streams, these videos, and so on, and sharing and liking. It matters so much, both for me. It matters so much for Ukraine, for all of the people that are suffering from this awful aggression, for all of the people that are trying to fight for us, for democracy, for everything. And I just, yeah, it's. I wish I can do more. I wish I would be as big as someone like Dennis or something like this, because then I would be able to do more. But I'm not. So I'm gonna be content with. Is it content or contempt? I'm gonna be happy with we have here today, and I'm gonna do my best to make sure that you stay informed, motivated, and we're gonna find options to do live stream to support both Ukrainian fighters on the front lines and maybe get some jaga jaga action in there. Ex Penguin 95. Putin should have read Sun Tzu. There he will be has the military capacity and nothing less. Yeah, I mean, like Putin thinks he's the smartest. So, Jack Ray, thank you so much for voicing your opinion. I found it reassuring to hear someone thinking similar things. Absolutely. Don Baka, we can lay off the tactical map deep dives for a bit. They won't go interesting. The SWAT of a criminal cracks and so on. Again, like I will still be covering sometimes. I will still be covering sometimes. Great stream. Thank you so much, guys. Content is the right word. Thanks, thanks. You know that my English is not the best. I've studied in English, but obviously English is not my first language. But I'm really trying. I'm really trying. Cool, cool, guys. I love you all. Have a great day, evening, or whatever your time of the day is. Slava Ukraine, and see you guys next time.
і червона калина похилилася. Чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми твою червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо, а ми твою червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Виступають наші добровольці у кривавий тан, визволяти рідну Україну з московських кайдан, а ми ті московські кайдани розірвемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо, а ми ті московські кайдани розірвемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Гей, у полі ярої пшенички золотистий лан, розпочали стрільці українські з ворогами тан, а ми тую ярою пшеничку і зберемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо, а ми тую ярою пшеничку і зберемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Як повіє буйнесенький вітер широких степів, та й прославить по всій Україні січових стрільців, а ми твою стрілецькую славу збережемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо, а ми твою стрілецькую славу збережемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо.